Okay. Um, Welcome, everyone. Tonight we are playing a Cool and Lonely Courage, which is about women of the SOE in occupied France by Alex White with the Gauntlet. My name is Donna. My pronouns are he, him. Tonight I'm going to be playing one of those SOE agents whose real name is Virginia Dodds and whose cover name is Julia Roche. I guess we'll go left to right in character order.
All right, so that puts me next. I'm Leah, she, her. I'm playing an SOE agent, Claire Berger, cover's name Adrienne Bernard, who was French, was living in England as a teacher, and is now posing as a nanny.
My name is Sabine. I use any pronouns. I'm going to play Mary McKenna, who's Scottish by origin, and she joined the SOE to hit back at the Nazis because of the death of someone I loved, probably her brother, fell during the war or something like that. Her assumed name is Lucille Duchenin. She had a French mother, or mother was French, and so now she is posing as a cosmetics company rep to card messages about.
Okay, and I should give some context for my character as well, given that you've all done that. My character was a first aid nursing yeomanry, Fanny, and her family holidayed in France, and her cover is as a district nurse. So there we go. Okay, so at the start of the game, we kind of start near the very end, right? We have all been captured by the Nazis. So we are in prison, in adjacent cells, whispering to each other when we get the chance, when we're not being overheard or in proximity to our guards. We were telling stories that led each of us to this terrible place, how we arrived in France, who we got to know, what missions we did, and eventually how we were captured. So we tell each other our code names. I guess we introduce what our strengths and weaknesses are and what we look like. And then, we start in our flashbacks through arrival, mission, interlude, capture in prison. And during those scenes, or near the start of those scenes, we're going to each draw a card to see how it goes. So each of the suits has a kind of corresponding fictional outcome, which we weave into the narrative. These scenes can be purely narration, if it makes sense, or we can role play through them quickly. And so when it's your scene, I guess the other two players are going to take the part of the supporting characters in that scene. Okay. I guess sometimes it may make sense that the supporting characters are our main characters, but I guess we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So, let me introduce my character's strengths and weaknesses. She is cool under pressure, and her accent is not quite French enough. So, I don't know, maybe she can get away with saying she's from the south of France or something like that, but they all speak funny down there anyway, right? She is, I guess because her, I think maybe she's not in her nurse's uniform, but it seems maybe her manner is definitely of the bedside variety. So that's something that might be given away, and seems kind of relatively cheerful. I mean, maybe that's cool under pressure, but seems to have a smile that comes easy to her face. Okay. How about Adrienne?
So Adrienne, lived and worked in France before the war, had been teaching in England, was recruited by the SOE, she thought, for work as a translator, and then, after interviews that she didn't quite understand the purpose of, was recruited for SOE's actual work. She's good with people. She was a teacher. She's good at working with recalcitrant folks, but she writes too much down as she tries to make sure she stays on top of everything in her organized, not helpful for spying way. She's working as a nanny in France with a host family who is not aware of the work she is doing and is working as a courier.
About Lucille. Her strength is she's bold as brass, always has been a bit ballsy, and going out to say, hey, my brother was killed by those fucking Nazis. I'm going to hit back at them. I don't care. I don't even care what's going to happen. I mean, that's probably mostly what she's about. She's also, and that's her weakness, she's stunningly beautiful. She has this fair skin, reddish hair. She's quite the looker, and people tend to notice her. And I think that's why it's a weakness, because you're not very good at keeping your head down. But it works for her because as a cosmetics rep, company rep, which she was a secretary before, which was boring anyway. So yeah, cosmetics sales rep, that's kind of even more of, I think she likes that better than her original job. Yeah, and also she's a courier. She takes messages from A to B, hopefully being noticed for all the wrong reasons.
Okay, great. So the first chapter is about our arrival. So this focuses on our slice of life and our relationships. Getting to know the people in our circuit includes meeting your SOE circuit leader, full-time members of the resistance, and ordinary people who are risking their lives to help and support your work. They are your colleagues, but feelings may vary. Some may be glad to see you, some may resent you, some may fancy you and try it on, some may fear what you might mean for their existing relationships. Some may look down on you because you're a woman or welcome you because you remind them of their daughter. Supporting characters might be other members of the SOE, resistance fighters, or their families. So I guess I'm going first. Right? Yeah. So I think yeah, I think there for Julia, there's the family she's staying with know the deal, right? So I think maybe one of their daughters is of an age with Julia, and they kind of strike up an initial friendship. And I think it helps keep her cover, and they help build that into her interactions with guards and everything like that. So I'm going to call her Chantal Gerard. Just writing that in the notes section. Yeah, so I should draw a card and see how this is going to go for me. So let me go over your party. 7 of Hearts. Okay, so Hearts means love. If you play Heart, the scene will revolve around love and a generally positive relationship scene. It might be love lost or love found, possibly love remembered or love hoped for. It could be love of a parent, child, sibling, friend, romantic love, or sexual. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I think maybe this is pretty early days for Julia, and her and Chantal are getting on really well. Does anyone want to play her? And we can do a short scene. Or are we happy with a?
I could if that's okay.
Yeah, cool.
So is Chantal in the resistance?
I think resistance adjacent, right?
Okay.
So, or if you want to make her in the resistance,
I think
fine.
she might be resistance curious.
Okay.
I guess. Like ever since you arrived, she has been thinking about doing more. Like before, it was like, yeah, I don't like Nazis, but who does? Yeah, and I would make faces at them when they were looking or something like that, but never really got into. I mean, where do you start even? And I think that's the question she would pose to you, because you know stuff, and how where do you start? How do you start without just being dragged off by the Nazis and being put in prison? I mean, you can hardly go around and ask people, hey, I want to join the resistance. You know anything?
Well, I mean, I guess, everything you do to help me helps the resistance and helps France against the Nazis. So, like, the little things matter. I don't think I'm winning the war here.
But what if I want to do more than the little things?
Oh, well, I mean, I guess we meet up with the resistance, the local group here from time to time. So I could always try to drop your name. I don't know what the protocol is. Maybe we should. Maybe I can ask. Maybe one of the agents here knows what the deal is. I mean, they're always looking for people to, pass messages and keep an eye out and that kind of stuff. Not to say it's not dangerous, but it's not.
I can do dangerous. I
You
mean,
can do
there's
dangerous?
I mean, we have to get these guys, people, things out of these Boschs out of our country, right? They can't stay here. That's not right. And what they're doing, it's just tyranny. We have to do something. I want to help. And if it's dangerous, then it's dangerous. God watches over me. I think she's religious.
Well, you're. I think you're plenty brave enough, Chantal.
Yes.
So yeah, I think maybe Julia maybe not her first meeting with the resistance, but maybe the second one when she's kind of learned the ropes a little bit, introduces the name and the prospect of Chantal helping out.
She will love you for that introduction. It will totally go well.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. Anything more we want to get out of this scene? What do you think? Or is that a nice intro? Okay. So, Leah, do you want to go next?
Yes, I'm going to set a scene, around what will, depending on the cards, be or not be an ordinary day in the context of her nannying. I think I'll set up the family as the Monsieur and Madame Gautier, with 2 children who I'll name when it occurs to me to name them. Let's see. So, all right. Let's see. And let's get a card to see what kind of scene it might be. All right, I have clubs. Let me check on clubs. All right, misfortune. Let's see. Misfortune, I'm just reading over because it's my first time playing. A misfortune, a mistake, or a setback. Emotionally tough, it might be a mistake made or a terrible coincidence that complicates things. I'm going to take a glance at the possible prompts to figure out what to set here. All right, I think given that I drew clubs, I'll just expand out the family a little bit here. So it's going to be 3 children now. 1 second. So Mathilde, who is the oldest, Madeleine and Richard, who are the 2 youngest and the ones I am nannying. And I think just to kind of set the scene a little bit, that when the first week or so of nannying goes pretty well, and then it's just working with Madeleine and Richard, who are very sweet little kids, and I've got enough kind of time to travel around on my bike as my leisure time as their nanny, which lets me do a bit of couriering. And it says I'm coming back on my bike, that Mathilde, who has been staying with family, comes back in the company of her boyfriend, since she's an older sibling of the other 2. And her older sibling is a French police officer working closely with the occupiers. So I'll give a name to him. Just pulling up. So that'd be a Frenchman. Let's go with Gustave Martin. Martin and boyfriend to Mathilde and collaborator. So I think, as I'm rolling up is when, I meet these 2 for the first time. And, something in this scene will be a setback for my work in the resistance. Would you 2 like to play, Mathilde and Gustave in whichever configuration you prefer?
Do you have any preferences, Sabine?
I don't. You pick.
Okay. I'll be the collaborator, so I will be Gustave.
Okay. I'll be Mathilde, who does not care that her boyfriend is a collaborator. I mean, he's a police person. Police is nice.
And I imagine he's someone she knew in the village before this, so it's not her first experience of him.
Yeah, right. Exactly. He's a good egg.
Oh, bonjour. You must be Mathilde, and I'm Adrienne. I'm the nanny to your little siblings. I've been hearing a lot about you from them.
Oh, I hope they are behaving. They can be terrible little beasts, but they are quite sweet. This is my boyfriend, Gustave.
Oh, hello.
I'm Gustave Martin.
Oh, pleased to meet you. So
yes.
I'm presuming he's not in uniform, right?
Up to you.
Or...
Up to you. I was leaning towards yes.
Okay. So let's say he's in his uniform. I was just wondering how we were going to reveal that. But if he's in uniform, it's I guess the stakes are there, right? As soon as he walks up. Adrienne, you said. Where have you come from?
Oh, I've come from the south of France. Actually, I'm going to rewind that not in character. I've come from Paris. My family thought it would be better for me to be out in the country where things are a little calmer, and a number of the families have left Paris anyway, so it was easier to find a stable nannying position out here.
Oh, well, I think Paris is safe. There's, I think it's the countryside that's more dangerous. There's a lot of Maquis out here uh, who are doing so much damage to our relationship with the Germans. I think they make
You,
it more dangerous for everyone out
you
here.
think there's Marquis out here? Everyone in the village has been so nice since I came.
Oh, sure, but
It seems like everyone is very earnest and straightforward.
well, in my profession, you get to look past that kind of thing. But
Don't
I'll
go
keep an eye
scaring
out
the
for
poor
you.
girl. Don't go
Uh,
scaring the poor girl, Gustav.
well, I can't
No.
lie to her. I think her parents may have done her a disservice. I no disrespect to your parents, of course, Adriana's, but
Well, I feel quite safe since you are here, Gustav.
well, I guess I'm just doing my job.
You will come around often, I think, right? And keep an eye on things.
Of course, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want you to feel unsafe in our village. I think here is quite safe, but in the in the countryside, that's where the Maquis stay.
And I think as they head back kind of to the house, it would become apparent to Gustav, even though Adrienne is trying to be pretty quiet about like whatever is in her bike basket, that there's more money than he'd expect to see in her wallet. She's done pickups today.
Oh.
And I think she, says something about how, she, was just paid by the family, and is like putting this away somewhere very safe, since he's warned her the countryside is more dangerous. But if he checks in, it will be clear that is not true for my club setback.
You can probably send back some money to your parents in Paris if that might help them. I'm sure the family you're taking care of, the Gautiers are very, very kind people. I'm sure they'll take care of you.
Well, thank you. Hopefully I might visit them at Easter, so I might be able to just do that myself.
Well, let me know if you want me to arrange a pass for you.
Thank you. All right. And see.
Nice. Okay. So I guess it's Lucille's turn to arrive.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I would like her to have a scene with her handler, maybe, or the guy who is actually telling her where she should go, what she should do, how this works. And I think he might be an older French guy who isn't really happy with having a British girl come here and do dangerous stuff like this pretty lady thingy, tiny person, woman. It's just be blunt, but well, okay. And I guess I would draw a card to see how the whole thing goes with that handler, and maybe her first thing that would be to submit, right? Hello? And which was mine now? I think it was the thing, diamonds,
You have
right?
the diamonds, yeah.
I have the diamonds, sorry. Okay, so diamonds, that means, what does that mean? Means something? Success. If you play a diamond, the scene will end with a success for the resistance and a generally positive relationship scene. Might be a personal success, a success in the mission as a whole, or helping someone else to success. It is supposed to be emotionally encouraging for you. Even a chapter that's bad, like capture a prison, it's possible to win small personal victories against the Nazis. Okay. So I guess, who wants to play the Maquis?
The skeptical handler.
Yeah, the skeptical handler.
I'm happy to do that.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Do you want to give him a name?
Yes, I do. Give me a sec to look up. This is not. Sorry, wrong tab. So many tabs. I think his name is Edouard Moreau.
And where would you like the scene to be set?
I think it's
As
maybe
we-
in the hotel lobby where I'm supposed to be stationed, and I've just arrived with my small little baggage, and I'm looking around, and I'm have a French mother, and I was a secretary, but I imagine that this is somewhere in a city, maybe not Paris, but larger.
Yeah, so maybe in a hotel bar that's not so crowded
Yeah.
that we have to use entirely oblique language, though somewhat oblique.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Ah, Lucille, come
Oh,
join me for
bonjour.
a café.
Yes,
Un petit
thank you.
café.
Bonjour.
Ah, bonjour. Your travels went well?
Oh yes, that was no problem at all. I had the right passes, and your preparations worked very well. I'm very glad to have your introduction to this lovely country, to this lovely city.
And you've brought all the samples for the sales.
Yes, I have. I have done everything. Everything went very smoothly. The Nazi persons who did some sort of controlling, they were very busy staring at my hair.
He hands you a bag that certainly has a ration card on top and goes, well, here's your ration book while you're doing your work for the company. There are some scarves and other things in case it's important for a woman representing our company to present an attainable image, and it mustn't look so flashy that the women you're selling to feel intimidated. So perhaps it'd be best to cover your hair at some time. You're not selling hair dye, though if necessary, some could be acquired.
My hair's not dyed. This is my natural hair color, but yes, I will cover up my hair so that people won't feel threatened.
It's important you understand the way things are done here. I know you're new to the company, and we don't want anything spoiled for the good name of Maquillage au Reine, à la Reine, our cosmetics company.
I think I understand very well what I am going to do here and what the stakes are. That we must establish our good name throughout this district.
You understand, I think of this as an apprenticeship. You'll report directly to me, and the matter of lipsticks is quite serious. Lipsticks refers here to radio operations.
And I say, well, yes, I have been made aware of this, and I can assure you that I have no trouble with all the different kinds of lipsticks, and that the colors will not elude me, even though some look better on me than on others.
I know some people think this is a job for women, given the nature of what we sell and the times in which we find ourselves, but the last operator I worked with in these sales was quite sloppy in her personal appearance, and I think this is a very new experiment, and it's not very clear it will pan out. So,
look at me. I can do this. Every time when I think something may be too hard or anything, I think of my brother, my saintly brother who passed, sadly. And he told me, Lucille, whatever it is, if you set your mind to it, and if you really want to do it, you can. And trust me, I am motivated. You are muted.
Whoops. Let me ask out of character, do you have something of your brother's on you that you're showing to this senior officer?
I don't think so, no. That would be to, it could be traced back.
Yeah, that's very fair. What kind of victory or success do you want to play towards in this scene?
Maybe
so I can help you do that.
Maybe he kind of remembers maybe he knew my brother, actually. Maybe he remembers that.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering about, what might jog his memory. So if you drop another detail or two that he could kind of link to a particular person.
Yes, he had the same color hair as I did. and well, was very distinctive.
The officer's eyebrows go up, and he says, like, I worked with him at my previous job before joining the cosmetics sale team.
I thought you might have.
A brave man, and like he kind of like he's clearly moved just thinking of him, and then kind of looks around the hotel bar and goes like, as you have to be in sales sometimes, dealing with trenchant housewives and so forth. But I suppose if you're anything like him, then you'd be a real asset to our team.
I hope I am. As I said, I loved him very much, and I'm very sad that he passed.
Nice.
And I think that's the scene.
Okay, great. So I guess we wrap up that chapter and we move on to our mission. So again, this is like a flashback story for our character's mission. Many kinds of missions: sabotage, reconnaissance, assassination, courier, wireless transmitting. The Nazis will be brutal in their retaliation against both the resistance and the local population, who they will happily blame for any problems. They want to make the local people more likely to turn in outsiders, resistance, and SOE members. Being stopped and having your forged papers checked is always a risk when doing courier work. Finding somewhere safe for a wireless transmission and completing it before the radio cars track you down is always a risk. Supporting characters might be members of the SOE, resistance fighters, members of local populations, or Nazi officers. Okay. So I think this time I'm just going to draw my card and see what kind of trouble I'm ending up in before, before deciding. Okay, so it's a spade, which is not good. Death. If you play a spade, the scene will revolve around someone you care about dying. Oh no, Chantal. It might be the death of one of our fellow SOE agents or one of the French resistance. It might be the death of an innocent child or an escaped prisoner. There's something meaningful about the death. It will ideally be someone that you know from an earlier scene to tie the scenes together and give some emotional weight to the story. Okay. I guess it has to be Chantal, given that she's the only NPC around for Julia at least. So I think maybe maybe she has been accepted into the resistance and is doing some work as a lookout. And I think, I chose wireless. Wireless as my specialty. So I think Julia is, in a disused house, maybe in the town she's staying in, maybe on the outskirts, doing a transmission, and the first warning she gets will be from Chantal on watch, but maybe as they're escaping, something bad happens. Do you want to play through that, or do you want to play through the aftermath? Have any preference?
Whichever you prefer.
I think the aftermath might actually be more interesting, because now this young rookie resistance fighter has been, I guess, killed, and that maybe you will talk to one of her family about what happened, or maybe not telling them what happened, or maybe they tell you what happened, what they think happened, and then you can say what's going on in Julia's mind and what she really remembers.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe Chantal's warning gives Julia time enough to escape, but then they don't meet up at the rendezvous. And then, maybe just before curfew or whatever, Julia slips in the back door to the Gerard household, and it's obvious that something bad has happened. So, yeah, I guess do we have maybe do we have two members of her family there, so we can get a variety of reactions.
Yeah, what kinds of family members would you like? And then Sabine and I will divvy them up.
Yeah, maybe do we have parents, maybe, or maybe another sibling who disapproves of all this kind of thing.
Sabine, do you have a strong preference?
I think I'd like to be the dad, maybe.
Fair enough. I will be the sibling who is skeptical of getting involved in this. I think also another sister, just to be more of a foil to her.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I guess pick whatever name you want.
I'll take the name Clemence.
And I don't know if I'm muted or not.
You're not. We can hear you.
I'm not. Cool. So I've chosen the name Victor Gérard, who is his father. The mother had to lie down. And her father is pretty much, they said that she had an accident, Chantal. The Nazis.
Who said
the Nazis. There were a Nazi officer here, and he said that my daughter had an accident, and he asked all kinds of questions, and yeah.
They didn't answer ours at all.
No.
Well, that's the Germans for you.
No, they just said she ran into a car. Yeah, that I don't. She was not the most alert person, but still, I don't think she ran into a car. They won't even let us have the body. They say she has been cremated. For I don't know why even.
Chantal, do you know anything about this?
No, I mean we were going to meet up to come home before curfew. That's why I'm so late, because she didn't show up. I said, just like her, to be late, but obviously they're always driving so fast in their armored cars, and they can't see out of those things.
When Monsieur Dumont died at the market of a heart attack, they brought back the body to the family. They were not as polite as anyone might wish, or as deferential as they ought to have been considering his age, but they brought him back. Why would they not bring back her to us?
Well, if she got hit by an armored car, you would probably not want to see her.
As she's my daughter. She's my daughter. I would want my little baby. I would want her, no matter how mangled. I don't. This is not right. This is wrong. What happened?
In the hospital, I've seen, terrible things, and they're bad enough to look at when they're strangers.
Well, I told them that we had a nurse staying with us and that we could handle anything that might be coming up, but they still refused to give her to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My little baby.
Perhaps you should go speak to them, Julia.
I was about to say perhaps I can go to the hospital and speak to the coroner. Maybe he can give us some more information.
Would you? Yes, please. But
it is the least that you can do, says.
We need to bury her. We need to bury her. She believed in God. She would want to be buried. She needs. We need to have at least that.
I know. Maybe.
I need.
So Julia is obviously feeling responsible, but she needs to say it in a way that they will understand, or that they can be let to understand. And I think she'll say, we were going to meet up earlier, but I said I was busy. Maybe if I'd met her earlier and not just to be home for curfew, she'd still be around.
Maybe if she hadn't been planning to meet you at all, she would still be here. We took you in with us, but we were supposed to just be in our house, not endangering it.
Not Clemence. This is not Julia's fault.
Chantal was following her around like she was her mother.
It's the Nazis who run her over. Keep your priorities straight. It's the Nazis who did that. It's them. They came here, they came into our country, and now they murdered my daughter.
But they might have ignored her. They might have ignored all of us if we hadn't gotten involved with you, she says to Julia.
So Julia desperately wants to have this argument, but she can't. It's not fair. So, she hangs up her coat and nods weakly to Clemence's stinging rebuke, and starts to make supper.
Guess that's the scene, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
All right. Then it's mission time for me. Let's see. Okay, and since I'm working primarily as a courier, I'm most interested, I think, in having a mission that involves traveling to the next town over on my bike. Just far enough to be unusual, but not far enough for it to be shocking. Let's see how that goes. King of Diamonds, yes. All right, let's take a look at possible prompts. Even knowing the end of the story, I'm very much rooting for the individual missions. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'd like to set a scene where, while I'm trying to do the handoff of some forged identity papers that someone in this, village over is going to carry on to the person who needs them, we're stopped by, well, let's make it, still the Gustav, right? But this is ultimately going to end well and with a triumph, and we'll have to figure out what kind of triumph that would be. So, Donna, would you like to reprise Gustav and Sabine be the person I'm meeting the next town over, and feel free to pick a name or gender for yourself there?
Okay, cool. I think I will go with a woman that time. I think she's kind of running a washing thing. Mm-hmm. Washery? Laundry, sorry. And her name is Blanche Blanche Morel. And she's an older woman, quite stout and no nonsense, and she's standing at the door of her laundry waiting for someone to come and give her dirty laundry. Of course. What else?
Absolutely. All right. And so I think, I've been in the laundrette for just, maybe like a few minutes, enough to like have my package out and be passing it to you when Gustav comes in. And obviously we have someone who does laundry in our own village.
Yeah, so he wanders over and says, Mademoiselle, Adriana, I didn't expect to see you here. Especially, I would have thought the children's nappies, and obviously they're too old for nappies, but this is like where his mind goes. I thought the children's nappies would have been much too urgent to bring all the way over here.
And Adrienne probably like colors a bit upon realizing he's there too. She goes like, "Oh, no, we do all the usual household laundry in the village, but and it turns out, because it's the King of Diamonds, she's prepared for this." She like turns to him and goes like, "I hope I'm not asking too much, Officer Gustav, if I ask you to keep a very small secret for me."
Oh, well, of course, so long as it doesn't endanger the safety of my charges.
And she pulls out a silk blouse with a red wine stain on it and goes like, "The children, just, I took my eyes off them for a moment and they managed to spill all over the Madame Gautier's lovely blouse, and I just didn't want to bring it to our own laundress where everyone would know it had happened, but I'm sure it can be cleaned up. I just didn't want to have to apologize for it. You will think me very silly."
Well, I mean, we have to protect the reputations of those who are too young to know better. I must admit that I am here, and I think he takes out some of his clip-on collars for his uniform, and I find Madame Leclerc's laundering not really sufficient for the collars. So, much to my shame, I have to come here.
I will keep your secret if you will keep mine.
I would usually do it myself, but we're having some VIPs come in next week, so I want to make sure all of my collars are spick and span. So an extra free little intel for you there.
Excellent. That was exactly what I was hoping for. All right, that works for me.
Okay, cool. And I think he just drops them off and leaves, and then you can go back to your proper mission. Okay, yeah, nice.
Okay, so I have to do a mission, and I imagine that this is some kind of where I either am supposed to or already have struck up a sort of friendship with the wife of a German officer, so I can get into their house and maybe take a look at some stuff that I shouldn't, but will, of course. And I will draw a card now to see how that goes. Yeah, this is the tab. Cards. One. Oh, wow. That's neat. It's a Jack of Hearts. So hearts means if you play a heart, the scene will revolve around love and a generally positive relationship scene. Be love stuff or love found, possibly love remembered or love hoped for. It could be love apparent, blah, blah, blah. And I think this German Hausfrau is pretty lonely and pretty bored with her husband, maybe even. And having a beautiful woman come over here that might actually she might actually be interested in more than just cosmetics. You get what I mean. So, who wants to play this Hausfrau?
I'm happy to take a crack at it. Are you here purely as a friend or as selling cosmetics to me?
Oh no, I'm purely. I started off selling cosmetics, and I guess we've kind of struck up a sort of relationship where she thinks I like her, which I pretty much don't. But you know, yeah. And do I name her? Do you name her?
Either way.
Okay, I think her name is Inge.
Inge, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Inge Hoffman work for you, just so in case it comes up?
Yeah, definitely. Her husband will come up, of course, because he's a very important person, and his name is Hartmut. Because.
All right. And just to add one detail, may I suggest that you now sometimes bring her free cosmetics instead of selling them because of course you're friends now.
Yes, of course, we're friends now. That's how I struck up the friendship with her, because I bring her free cosmetics and stuff that complements her complexion. She's very fair, of course, quite Aryan.
Yeah, I think she's kind of like slightly dejected when you come in and go, Lucille, I don't know what the point of these lipsticks are, if not to get my husband's attention. And yet, all he can think about is work, work, work. Why can't he leave it in the streets and come home to me like we were in Germany? He's so disagreeable now.
Oh, well, he is, I think he bears great responsibility. But I mean, really, he's actually, I maybe too forward, but how could he ignore you? I mean, a beautiful woman like you.
Especially when we are here. It would be one thing, though still quite unacceptable to me, if you were distracted in Germany, but here, where there are just all these boring little French women with their dark, unpleasant hair, yours accepted, of course, that is notable. But here I am notable, and yet he comes home and barely gives a look to me and buries himself at his desk. Am I unattractive?
Of course
Lucille?
you are not. No, you're a beautiful woman. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Maybe you just need something to take your mind off your husband, and Lucille will move closer and takes her hand. I mean, if he's so distracted, what's to say you're not going to be distracted as well?
Lucille, you understand, I am not made for a war. I did not want to come to France until it had been thoroughly pacified. This is all very unpleasant. The bomb that went off at the cafe the other day, and now our servant must go another few blocks for bread, and it is no longer as freshly baked when it comes home. It is very exhausting for me.
Ugh, I don't get to throttle her, right? Because I drew hearts.
I was meant to be appreciated.
Well, if he doesn't appreciate you, Inge, you should find someone who will. I mean,
I think she looks at you kind of differently than she had before and says, well, it is a busy afternoon for me. I need to supervise the cook making our dinner, but he will be traveling with on one of the trains on this Thursday night and not back for the whole weekend if you wish to make a longer visit.
Oh, I would love to make a longer visit, and you always wear such marvelous clothes. Maybe we could take a closer look at that.
And she says, well, if no one else will appreciate them, perhaps I will wear one of my best dresses when you come over. How does that work for you?
Yeah, that totally works for me. And also I learned that this guy was on a mission. Yes, great. And I might even spend the night if I play my cards right.
You can sneak around the house while she's asleep.
That's the plan.
All right. Since we came to the end of our set of mission things, could we take a bio break for a few minutes?
I was just going to suggest that. 10 minutes? Do you want
10 minutes would be great.
Okay.
10 minutes is great.
All right.
Okay.
See you guys
Back
at
See you.
40 past. Yeah.
Exactly.
Whatever. Okay. Okay, so things have gotten serious with our missions, and now we're going to go on to the third part, which is an interlude. So there were moments of calm between the storms of activity. Perhaps the Nazis were on the move and everyone had to lay low. Perhaps the weather meant that plans had to be postponed. The interlude is an opportunity to remember more about what it was like living with the people in your circuit, living with the local people nearby, and finding out about their small acts of resistance or betrayal or affection. How are you affected by the people around you, and how do you affect them? Supporting characters might be members of the SOE, resistance fighters, their family members, or other villagers. Okay. So, yeah. What do I think of this? I'm just going to have a quick look at the scene guide. I guess I'm going to draw a card to see what kind of trouble we end up with this time. Another spade. Oh dear. So that means some kind of death scene of someone I care about. So let me think.
I will say I like the prompts for this section for the spades for still having a stronger interlude and a bit of consolation even with a death.
Yeah. So
So maybe it's finally the funeral of Chantal. I mean, it doesn't have to be another death, right? And that would be
it's just death related.
Well.
Yeah. I mean, it's tempting to suggest another discussion with Clemence, but maybe in that funeral zone. But maybe this is kind of her, Julia's cover work in the hospital. So maybe a resistance fighter has been, captured and shot and is on his deathbed. And she's just managed to be on the rota to be with him at the end. So I give him a name. Let's go with Vincent David. Wounded. Resistance fighter. On his deathbed. Okay. Anyone want to play him?
Should I do that, or do you want to do it, Leah?
Go for it.
So David is injured, dying.
I think dying, right?
Mm.
Or at least badly injured. That maybe not tonight, but you know he's not long for this world.
Okay.
Do you think he's a young guy or older?
He's a young guy.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think Julia is like changing bandages. You know, whatever wound he has is, you know, needs constant treatment, even though like everyone knows he's
Probably some sort of belly wound then, I guess.
Yeah.
Or some kind of lung and thing, if that doesn't go too close to our line with COVID. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if he's got, yeah, he could. I mean, if it's a bullet wound or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. But
yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, he's kind of. I think he's kind of trying to flirt with you a little, but he is pretty much hurts very much, and he has trouble breathing. Right.
Okay. Yeah. So I think. I think Julia will smile at him and say, "Well, after this, I'm sure there's nothing, no more barriers to you bringing me out on a date. We could go to the next town, visit the cinema."
Oh, I'd love to dance with you. You look like a dancer.
I'm not sure. You know, I spend a lot of time on my feet here, and
that's the important part in dancing. You've got to stay on your feet.
Yeah, but I mean, are you any good? What, do you think you're gonna wow me or make up for my bad moves?
I mean, will be very good at staying on your feet. I'm a terrible dancer. But I would so love to dance with someone. That's just humor me. Yeah.
I mean, you seem like a lovely guy, Vincent. So maybe I will humor you.
Thank you. That means the world to me. I don't know. Maybe when I'm healthy again and we've gotten rid of all the housewives here. You know, everything could happen.
Yeah, they do seem to be very put out by young, handsome Frenchmen like yourself wanting to dance with French girls.
Oh, yeah, that's why we need to keep up the good fight.
Yeah, yeah. I guess those housewives will just have to get used to disappointment, right?
Yeah, well, their daughters aren't that safe.
Well, I'll see if I can pick out something nice for that when you clear some time on your busy social schedule.
Yes, so many appointments I have to keep, you know. But if you have something, I think something blue might suit you. Go with your eyes.
Yeah, well, I might be able to borrow a dress from someone.
Yes, and I will be very dapper. I will wear the most fancy suit you can imagine. And really shiny shoes, you know. You have to have shiny shoes if you go dancing with a girl, lovely girl.
I don't think I'll be spending much time looking at the shine in your shoes, though, Fasson.
Yeah, but still, I want to make a good impression on everyone, except for the housewives.
Yeah, well, sometimes I think all they care about is the polish on their boots. Huh?
Yeah, maybe not shine my shoes, just to piss off their memory.
Mm.
Maybe afterwards we can go dancing barefoot, you know, under the stars.
Well, you are quite a romantic, aren't you?
I am a Frenchman.
I mean, you know, even for a Frenchman.
Mm. Wow. Yeah.
So I think in the middle of her rounds later on that night, Julia will maybe kindly ask or bribe one of the orderlies to pipe some music in over the intercom. If that's not too high tech a solution, so that Vincent gets some music for a little while at least.
Hello.
That was a very sweet scene, you guys.
Anything more from this? I think
I think he will. When you in the next morning when you come by, then they will tell you that he died during the night.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that's the scene. Although she'll probably have to do something like to go through his effects and make sure they get back to someone of his. Okay, yeah. So I think that's the scene.
All right. For my interlude, I'm mostly going to let the cards help me pick what kind of scene to set here, because I like the prompts here a lot. All right, diamonds. So let's see what's on the table. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'd like to set this. After having said I want to pick from the prompts, I'm now not picking from the prompts, but you know, set it more in the everyday work of her nannying, leaving you guys to be the kids who I named Madeleine and Richard. You know, and it's just, you know, plausibly, yeah, to make this kind of a nice interlude. You know, let's say I said this was a family without specifying too much, without mentioning the father yet. So let's have the father have died in, you know, the oh, actually, given the age range I have, let's have the father of Mathilde died in the First World War, and you know, the younger two kids are from the second marriage. So possibly just an afternoon of Madeleine and Richard and Adrienne playing with the toy soldiers the kids have, and then having a little conversation about their family and wars pitched to a child appropriate level. Sound all right?
Yeah, sounds perfect.
And I haven't specified exactly how old these kids are, so you guys are welcome to make any choice that feels reasonable for that setting. All right. So I think we're outside in the yard, you know, with like little child-sized shovels and things, like digging little fortifications and setting up, brambles and things. And Adrienne is saying, Richard, if you do not build something for your soldiers to hide behind, mine will be able to find yours. Whichever of you wants to.
Do you have a preference, Sabine, on Madeline
No,
or Richard?
I have an idea for Madeleine, so what she's doing. So
Okay.
you go be Richard then.
I'll be Richard. So yeah, I think he looks surprised at this whole suggestion, and he said, "Oh, is this like when I saw you hiding behind the corner that time? You didn't want to be seen?"
Well, Richard, you know that sometimes everyone doesn't want to be seen if they want to go on doing what they're doing. Like when you do not want to come into dinner because you are playing with sticks in the creek.
Yeah. But it doesn't always work. Sometimes you find me, like that time when, I spilled the drink.
It doesn't always work for grown-ups either. Sometimes they have to have very boring conversations with people they must be polite to.
Oh.
Now, Richard, if you have 3 officers and 24 infantrymen, how many soldiers do you have altogether?
Are officers soldiers?
They're just soldiers who are in charge of other soldiers, but they all work together.
Okay. So I have 9 soldiers. So I think he's like dividing them up into groups, and he's, I have 9 soldiers.
Richard, try counting them all. Double check if your answer is right. Remember, this is your math lesson. We're just having it outside because it's such a beautiful day.
So I think he sits down and probably knocks over some of those soldiers, or maybe even some of Madeline's.
Hey, Madeleine is pretty much, she's a bit shy about working in the mud with the shovels and stuff. Like she's afraid of getting her clothing dirty. But she has already declared that her leader here of her army, that is Napoleon.
Oh, Napoleon. Oh, this is bad news for your brother and me. How can we be expected to fight France's greatest hero?
Well, you know what? That's maybe you could be some not French. No, that wouldn't work. Can we maybe somebody has to be some enemy, right? Because I have Napoleon and Richard. Who's your leader?
We can be the smelly Englishman with the boots, Mr. Welly.
Yes.
Wellington. Just give me 1 second. I'm putting her down on the ground.
Okay. Yeah, Wellington. You can beat him this time, Maddie.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
very
Monsieur
much.
Wellington. Yes, that is a good choice. It's rather difficult even for Napoleon, but who will I be? Perhaps I will be the Americans.
You can't be an Indian.
Remember from your history books, at the time of Napoleon, there were Americans.
Yes. Okay.
And they were on the same side, right? We helped them, they have to help us. That's the rule.
Yeah. That is correct. We have helped them from the very beginning, and they will, God willing, help us as well.
But they're very far away.
They are. It may take a long time before they help us, and we have to do a good job taking care of our own home in the meantime.
Yes, but we have Napoleon.
We just Just like we sweep out your rooms and make your beds every day, we have to take care of France.
That's very important. Richard already said that today, since I'm Napoleon, I will beat him. Because I will try. You can, you know what? You can have a heroic figure who makes a speech.
So I think Richard stands up and puffs his chest out and fails to come up with a stirring speech. He's just thinking right now of something. I am going to win, and we will send Napoleon off to a smelly prison where he can write letters to his wife.
Now it's my turn to make a speech. And she takes Napoleon and says, "For France!"
And, I take up one of my little soldiers and I say, and now it is my turn, and I say, and I am sorry, Richard, but I cannot take sides against Napoleon, that Napoleon and France will never be defeated, and we will always come back from our redoubts of safety and come home. And I will help you, she says. Pretty good with that as the scene, to be honest.
I think Richard cheers. Yes. Even though he realizes then it means he's going to lose.
Madeleine also cheers and gets her dress all dirty.
The trench digging is a bit messy, I think.
Yes.
For France. That her mother will understand. If it was for France, then sometimes sacrifices need to be made.
Okay.
So I guess it's my turn for the interlude. I think I will start with a card because that might give me some ideas what I want to do. Oh wow. This is I think it's spades. What does that? Oh, death again. Yeah, death. Neat. Scene will revolve around someone you care about dying. So I guess that would be maybe it would be, what was his name? Edouard.
The condescending man.
Yeah, the condescending, but he
But you worked things out.
Yeah, and he knew my brother, and I think we bonded, and I brought him a lot of good news about lipsticks and sales and stuff like that. So I think maybe he is he dying because he was wounded in some sort of battle? Maybe he was, or is he just ill? Just an old man.
I mean, people do get sick even in wartime.
Yeah, it's true.
Though it's also, possible that he has some kind of secret injury that, he doesn't want to give away. He was injured because they're looking for someone with this injury and then he can't go to the hospital.
Yeah, and I think I like that. So he was somebody, one of the Nazis hit someone with a dagger, and he said, well, this guy, he will bleed out. There was so much blood. And from the description, I think Lucille can tell that it's Edouard. And as soon as she can, she will go to where she probably knows that he would hide, to some sort of hideout. I don't think it's either at the hotel or at somewhere official, but she will go to the hideout and see who was the one who was injured. Maybe she doesn't know who it was, but she wants to go in there and see who was it, and then she realizes that it's Edouard.
Yeah, so I can continue to play Edouard if that works for you.
Yes, totally.
All right. He sees you and says, like, please tell me you've brought something to drink at least.
I have some very fine bourbon. No, it's not. Cognac. I have some very fine cognac. I liberated from Officer Hoffman's stash.
And I know it will be good at least.
Yeah, he steals a lot. He has good taste of what he steals.
He takes the cognac from you, drinks it, and you can see that at that point that he's took that wound. Did we say where exactly, or just a stabby wound? Yeah, so let's say in the arm, as he reaches out with his non-dominant hand for the cognac. But you can see that on his other arm, there's kind of red streaks going up his arm from the wound. So it's pretty clear he's got blood poisoning at this point from it, and it's probably not going to make it. Do you say anything when you see,
Yeah,
that?
I mean, I will ask him who did that, because, I mean, I don't think you will get him, but maybe I might.
He kind of sighs and goes, unfortunately, take him out when he got me. He names a German officer. You can pick a last name, or if I had, I could go to a hospital, but he survived long enough, I guess, to give my description. So
let's call him Schmidt.
Yeah, all right, Schmidt.
That's a very common name.
And, he's just like, rubs his arm, like winces and says, you've been braver than I anticipated. I am perhaps not quite as brave as I would like to be, Lucille. I wish it had taken me then. I don't want to be captured. I'd rather be out here in this field alone, however hard it is, than with them.
Yeah, being captured is probably the worst. I would like to go down in a hail of bullets, no, like Danny did.
He looks at you and says, this would be a bit beyond your usual duties, but if you could make contact with another circuit tonight, they might have something that would speed my way, at the very least.
I can try.
Would you be willing to do that?
Sure, of course. I'll go over there right now, but I'll leave you the cognac.
Yeah, and I think Edward is breaking protocol slightly to get you in contact with a different circuit he's in contact with that you shouldn't, have direct with, so that you can get morphine.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So he gives you the right name and code phrase to be able to make contact with this other circuit, and tells you where they'd expect to meet him.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so I think that might be the scene, though.
Yeah, and I am wondering if that other circuit will play into your next scene.
Oh no. Okay, the next scene is capture. So yeah, maybe.
Breaking protocol is definitely the foreshadowing.
Yeah, well, I'm bold as brass, so totally will do that. Cool.
Okay, so that's all of our interlude scenes. Capture. Something went wrong and you were captured. This is a chapter where it happens. Maybe your wireless operator, they zeroed in your position. Maybe you made a stupid mistake that gives you away when crossing the road. Maybe your papers are wrong. Maybe a collaborator betrays you to the Nazis. Maybe your love for the wrong person leads you to the wrong place at the wrong time. Maybe someone who's important to you dies in the scene. This is the scene where you are captured. Supporting characters, maybe members of the SOE, resistance fighters, collaborators, Gestapo, Nazi soldiers, innocent bystanders. Okay, so let me draw a card and see what the fates have in store. Ah, diamond. So yeah, I think maybe there's been a lot of activity in this in the area, and they have to, the circuit that Julia is a member of have to move, but she wants to go to her usual place to destroy evidence that was there, or maybe get the radio or something like that. So to save her equipment or to destroy any of the code books or stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's I think maybe the capture is her in that lone farmhouse, kind of upstairs in the attic or something, kind of slowly, methodically destroying all the equipment there, even though like the rest of her circuit and the rest of the people in the resistance or whatever are hightailing it. So she has decided to stay behind to make sure that they don't get anything else. Is it worth doing that capture scene, or the immediate aftermath of the capture, or maybe the discussion she has with someone else in her circuit to kind of send them away? I don't know which.
I feel like here's where we're least likely to play out the direct scene itself, and more something that, touches on it, like the other circuit person.
Okay. Yeah. So
since it's a success, so that would be maybe the success that you would get somebody else away before being arrested yourself.
Yeah. And I guess she is destroying all the equipment that would help the Nazis track the rest of the network down as well. Definitely following protocol. Okay. So yeah, so maybe we have the discussion leading directly to her capture then. So is this another agent in her circuit? Maybe another SOE agent?
Or maybe Clemence has come around.
Oh,
yeah, it'd be interesting if that were true.
Yeah, okay. So she has joined the resistance, and okay. So Leah, you played her in the first scene, right?
Yeah, I'm happy to take her up again. Just tell me a little about what kind of work you think Clemence might be doing now. Is she officially in, or has she been assisting you in some smaller way?
I don't think she has been assisting. Maybe there's still that kind of personal friction. So maybe she is a hands-on resistance fighter now. Whether that be, armed and dangerous, or doing something else. I don't mind, but I don't think they really have a good relationship, not a working relationship day to day at least. Yeah.
All right. So where do you want to set this scene exactly?
So maybe this farmhouse is not just a place where Julia does her transmissions, but is like a resistance safe house. That makes sense.
Sounds good.
So maybe, so Julie has just like sent away the rest of her circuit and told them that she would take care of all of their stuff, that they can't move quickly or don't want to be caught with stuff on their persons if they go through a checkpoint or anything. And Clemence is there, maybe taking care of stuff herself. Clemence, you can't be here.
Oh, I have work to do, same as you.
If they catch you here, then that's too much of a coincidence, and they're going to go to your home and they're going to look for stuff. Tell me what you need me to do. Where am I going to go? I'm going to stay here. I've got code books to destroy and a crystal to shatter and a radio to disassemble.
Well, it'll go faster with 2 people, and then things will be all wrapped up. She like goes to pick up something to help you get rid of it.
So I think Julia like grabs her hand before it reaches. No, you have to leave.
I don't think my family will be safe if you're caught either.
I can keep my mouth shut. But they'll know who you are.
She kind of like looks over the array of things and like is kind of clearly visibly thinking about how long it will take you and what your odds are to be able to do it quickly. And like gives a small like nod and says like, it would have been simpler if you had just been a real nurse, just a nurse, and saving lives that way while staying with us. I know you're doing the same work here, but it's much more complicated.
Things would be much safer for you if we're not here to be safe and simple. And I think Julie has already started to like tear up the paper and wet them to try to destroy any evidence. So she's like walking and chewing gum at the same time, you know.
Yeah, and I think, you know, Clement kind of hesitates at the door, but she is leaving, like you asked. And then, you know, like pulls out one thing from her pocket and goes, you know, Chantal would have wanted you to have something, and I was going through her things. There just aren't as many now, so, and she holds out just a hair ribbon to you. It won't be suspicious, but if you would like.
So yeah, I think Julia stops and walks over and takes the ribbon and kisses Clemence goodbye, and you know ties up her hair with the ribbon and goes back to work.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I turn. I'm just going to glance at what the prompts are for a second, and then, yeah, I think I'll probably use a card to help me decide what to do. Clubs. Not great. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'm going to adapt a little from number 3, right? Where you've discovered something from the Germans, but it turns out it was a trap. So I think just to fill in the gaps a little, you know, Adrienne did manage to kind of make useful hay for the resistance about the VIP meeting that Gustav mentioned. But it was you know, he really hadn't mentioned it to too many people, and he began wondering afterwards. So, you know, I think she probably does like go on, you know, some mission just to like scope out or count, you know, folks who are all supposed to be coming to another similar event. And when she gets to the place she had planned to watch from, you know, Gustav and other officers are there. And so, you know, this might be a strange way to set the capture scene, but since I don't want to touch on it directly, I'd like to kind of shake up the viewpoint a little bit for the scene, and then just have, I'm just looking at folks' names since I've forgotten them. I'd like to have Mathilde explain to her younger siblings in whatever way she thinks is appropriate that their nanny has left today. So Sabine, if you're up to take over Mathilde, and I'll pick up Madeleine.
Okay, cool. Yes, I will. Mathilde is visibly shaken, and she will go and first she will hug her two little siblings and ask them if they're okay, they're fine, are they healthy?
Of course.
Huh? What do you mean?
Well, it turns out that your nanny, she's quite sick. She's quite sick, and she had a very, very contagious sickness. And I was wondering if you had caught it.
Did she have to go to the hospital?
Yes, she's in the hospital now. She won't be back. I'm afraid this will take a long while for her to get over this, if she does. But I will be here, and I will be taking care of you now. And
we should light a candle at church for her, Mathilde, so that she'll get well.
Yes, we can totally do that. That is a very good idea, Madeleine.
Will you give me the money to buy the candle?
Of course, my dear, of course. We will light a candle for poor Adrienne and hope that she will be healthy soon. And look, tell me, what kind of games did she play with you?
She was teaching us so well. She would get us to teach her poems, and teach her the way to properly, say things. And we did the Napoleon game.
You let us do math outside without our books.
And digging, we could dig the mud, even though
my dress got dirty, but it did become clean again.
And it was all for France, so that was okay, she said. We're allowed to get dirty for France.
Well, you don't have to get dirty for France, Richard.
If you're digging trenches, you cannot not get dirty.
You are a little boy. You don't need to get dirty for France. And you certainly should not get dirty, Madeleine. How will you ever be a lady? Girls should not get dirty. No. But not even for France. No.
I think Joan of Arc got dirty when she led the soldiers to kick out the English. And maybe one day I will get dirty and lead soldiers too.
Madeleine, do not contradict me, young miss.
Papa said that Joan of Arc could wear trousers because she was a knight.
But she talked to God directly, and he said to wear trousers, and God has never told me to wear trousers.
Girls should not wear trousers.
Unless God tells them to.
Well, Adrienne didn't tell you anything like that, right?
No, Adrienne did not tell us to wear trousers.
She's not God. Are you silly, Matilda?
You're very silly.
I think we can cut the scene there.
I think, the kids wind up asking Mathilde to help them write a letter to Adrienne to tell her to get well. Mathilde can do whatever she wants with that letter.
Well, she'd probably give it to Gustav.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Nice work in that scene.
Okay, so let's see about Lucille. I will draw a card before I make any decisions about what this is about. Let's see. I can't see anything. Oh wow, it's another death, I guess. Okay. Death of someone I care about. So it's probably not Inga.
Unless that relationship has gone in very unexpected directions off screen. But yeah, I buy it's not Inga.
No, but I think I know who it is. Inga mentioned that she had people who got her bread and they had to run very fast, I guess. And maybe it's the housemaid. It's the housemaid at the Hoffman house, who I've struck up a sort of a friendship with because she knows that I detest Inga. And I know that she does as well. And I've been trying to recruit her for the resistance. And I've been trying to make her get stuff out of the house. And maybe they kind of imagine that maybe they kind of caught her, and maybe I won't react so well and just give myself away. So I don't know where we are going to play this. Maybe we can have I know what we can do. We can have the scene where I actually recruit this young girl or this person to take the documents that I've stolen, to take them away. That because and then, well, this person will obviously not make it, but maybe we can have a scene with her. That's okay?
Sounds good.
Yeah, sounds good.
Who wants to play her?
I'll do it. Okay.
I think, do you want to choose a name or should I?
I'll choose a name.
Okay, cool.
Let's go with Antoinette.
Antoinette. Okay, cool. So I think it's early morning when you show up for the bread run, and you will meet Lucille, who's not dressed in a morning gown, I guess. The lieutenant or whatever he is, the Hauptmann is away as usual, and Lucille spent the night, and she shows up, and she's a bit disheveled, and she says, "Well, Antoinette, can you do me a favor?"
Well, I've just picked up bread from the boulangerie, and
yes,
Madame Inga is very particular about how fresh the bread is.
I'll take the bread. I'll talk to her. It's fine. If you can just look, Antoinette, do you hate her, Inga? I mean,
she's very easy to hate. I mean,
she is, isn't she?
No more than I hate any German officer's wife in this country.
Well, I need you to take this package, and I need you to take it to the laundry in the 3rd arrondissement. Can you do that?
Where did you get these? These are the Hauptmann's papers.
That's why it's very important.
Are you with the resistance?
Yes, of course.
Oh my
God.
Hurry. They won't know me. I can hardly tell them I came from you. That would be too dangerous for you. Should you not do it yourself?
I have to keep her busy before she notices. Someone has to take the documents, and she has to be kept busy. If I go now, she will know.
But someone, they will figure it out eventually.
I won't tell them anything. Antoinette, please.
But when you leave, or when the Hauptmann returns, he will see that everything is gone.
Yes. I'll take the blame. They can have me. I won't tell them about you. But I need you to take these to the laundry, to the laundrette. Ask for some more.
Okay. So I think she takes the packet and doesn't quite know where to put them, and I think she, puts them in the pocket in her apron, and I don't know, puts her coat on that she's just taken off, and if you put the bread into the oven for like 4 minutes, it'll freshen it up, and she won't get quite as narky.
And I think at that point where you come back, just to tell me that's when we see all the Nazi guys show up, and we hear maybe just a shot, and we see Antoinette fall, and the package will roll out of her whatever basket.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Is that cool?
That's very not cool.
Sorry. Is that not
Cards
cool
are
for
cruel and unusual tonight?
Yes. They
okay,
are.
Yeah.
Damn.
So, I guess we're ready to go into our final scene. Do people want to take a 5-minute bio break, or are people good? Yeah, okay. We'll take 5 minutes. Okay.
Cool.
Sounds good. See you at 35.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so now I guess we come to the relatively harsh part, and we focus on the prison, which is not a flashback, but experiences together here in the prison. Read the description. Before being shipped off to a concentration camp or for medical experimentation in Nachtweiler. Well, that's lovely. The interrogators are merciless in their torture to attempt to gain information from the prisoners. Sometimes they will try to charm the information out of prisoners first, but they are always prepared for brutal interrogation. It's inadvisable to play at the interrogation itself. Use narrative to talk about what happened and let the scene focus on the aftermath of it as your characters talk with each other or with supporting characters. Maybe you hold on to your cover story, maybe you lie, maybe you break. In real life, none of them broke. Maybe you attempt to escape but are recaptured, or you injure a guard and are beaten for it in turn. Maybe you encourage a fellow prisoner and help them keep things together, or see one of your resistant friends suffer and be executed. Supporting characters can be Gestapo officers, Nazi soldiers, collaborators, fellow prisoners, or one or more of the other player characters. Okay. So, yeah, I guess I will just want to bring up the prompts for this chapter. All cheery stuff, and I will draw a card. Aye, another spade. Cursed. Okay. I'm going to avoid number 5. I'm going to let Clemence get away with it after our scene. Not that any of the other options are any less dark, but I like the wrong word. I like option 6. One of your fellow prisoners asks you to kill them because they fear they cannot stand any more torture and they fear they will betray the Allies. I don't know if this is one of the other, one of your characters or some other NPC who's locked up with this. What do you think? Is Adrienne
I'm not
or
going to make it
Lucille
my
in that
character.
kind of? Oh, okay. Yeah, so I guess at this stage, right, we've heard each other's stories and we've gotten to know each other quite well. So, what kind of a place is Adrienne in to ask for that?
One second, I was both thinking and having a snack. You know, I might say she's in kind of a resigned place. You know, both not seeing much hope, but also, you know, if she hasn't died yet, you know, it just feels like things are going to keep going on the way they are, and they're both terrible, but it hasn't completely destroyed her, so it'll just keep happening. But she doesn't expect anything to change for good or for worse.
Well, the way I look at it, the more time and energy they have to pay us here, you know, wondering if they really have the right people and trying desperately to get stuff out of us, the less time they spend out there looking for everyone else.
I don't know if they even care if they have the right people.
Oh no, but they, you know, they want us to think they don't care. That's what they have on on their side, but they really want to know. I mean,
the officers want to know, but the men who hurt us, you know, they want to win is all. They don't care over who.
yeah, but if there's some doubt, I would love. I mean, okay, it's stupid, right? They don't care, you're right. But if for one moment of the day they think they're wasting their time, I would love that. So, you know, if we do that, we just make their jobs easier, and I'd really prefer not to do that.
Just out of character to make sure I'm following, is Julia asking for Adrienne to commit to doing something here?
No, I mean, I think she is just telling her to keep doing what she's doing and that it's not wasted effort. It does matter that we keep, you know, we keep them out.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, you know, it's definitely like a working hard to keep still kind of thing, but I think it's keeping with Julia's kind of mindset to go with that.
Does that hit what you wanted to hit for the scene, or is there anything else you want to?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Right.
Yeah.
I will draw a card for me. Clubs. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Just thinking about these different options for a moment. All right. I think I'm going to go with you overhear one of the other prisoners crack and give information away to his captors. And I might wind up asking Lucille for advice about this, because I think where I want to take it is that one of the people who was involved in my circuit, whose name I didn't know and who I hadn't met, I've realized who it is, because I overheard this. Or we did do a good enough job keeping our identities from each other, and I'm grateful for what that person did, but not sure if there's any way to express that here based on how I know. So I think that's kind of the scene I want to set. So, I think Adrienne says to, actually, I think it can be to Lucille and Julia, since we've been with each other for a while, kind of has explained part of this and goes like, so, that whole time, I knew that, that contact we called him, the Rose. It's part of our circuit, but we never met, and we kept each other's secret. And I guess I know now he didn't know who I was either, because he didn't give that away. But he was always kind to me when I went to the dead drops, and there were sometimes little notes reminding me not to give up. And I always wished I could thank him, and I guess now I can. But he'd be so ashamed to know that I heard. What do you think I should do?
I mean, would it help the cause if he knew?
I can't do very much for it here anymore, and he's already, it sounds like, told everything he knew, and if not that, more, just when they weren't sure it was that. I want to give him some comfort, but I've never met him. I don't know him.
Shouldn't get involved, because they might then try to use him to get to you, or you to get to him. It's better to stay you're in a fortress, right? That's how, at least that's how I get through it. I imagine that I'm in a fortress, and I don't want to get out of it.
We are in a fortress. We're going to die in a fortress. I want some good things before we go. What do you think, Julia?
I mean, I don't know, it's like everything that we give them. I mean, it's possible to have conversations quietly here, obviously. Maybe it would help, but I don't know what I would do. That's not much of an answer for you. I mean, there's people who help me outside that.
I just thought at the end of all this, it was so important not to know there, and I know it's important now, but I thought at the end, if we made it through, we'd find out what we'd done. So many of the packages I carried, I didn't open, and I wasn't supposed to, but I hoped one day someone would tell me what they did and what I did. I'd like to do that for him.
I am imagining cocktails in Paris when this is all over. I know it's stupid. I know it's not going to happen, but that's how I'm imagining it.
I imagine I'll be with my brother, but that doesn't help you because he's dead. Maybe that's the way to go, right? Look at afterlife. Maybe that's the place where we can all find out what it was for and who we were, and where we can speak freely and openly. Maybe this is not the place for that.
The place where all the veils have parted and we can see clearly. I just want him to know how much it meant to me.
If it's that important to you, then I mean, go ahead. It's clear that that is very much what you want to do. You just needed to talk yourself into it, right?
I mean, I, for one, am saving up for something blue to wear when I go out to that nightclub. So, which will mean nothing to anyone except me and someone else.
I think Adrienne kind of gives a nod with her jaw set, and she's started thinking about how, in whatever way the prisoners have of kind of talking or giving any messages between each other, she can come up with something that won't compromise her, but will tell him that she's grateful. Cool.
Okay.
All right. May you draw better than we did, Sabine.
Looking for reds. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's see about that. There's a card and I can see it. I think
I can't see it either.
I think I submitted a token. Maybe. I'll just submit another one. Hello? Yeah, there it is. And it's, of course, it's free. It's a three of clubs. So no, I did not draw better. That's again, that's the misfortune, right? Hello, cards, where are you? Yeah, misfortune. Exactly. Seem will end badly for the resistance and generally negative relationship scene. Huh. I don't know. I mean, my relationships outside of this were pretty much resistance.
The prompts on this one aren't bad, I think.
Yeah, you're right. So, yeah, I think what has happened is that I have. Oh yeah, I like the idea that I attempt to escape, but are recaptured. Because I mean, maybe I got one of the officers, junior officers, kind of into the whole, oh, I'm a poor French girl, and this is all a misunderstanding, and this weird pervert from Berlin, she took advantage of my innocence, and can you not please have a heart? And yeah, and it ended badly because maybe one person had a heart and said, okay, let's help this poor little Frenchy girl. But there were other people who were not that naive, and they captured me again, and that's where I'm at now. That my last ploy of playing the innocent has failed, and I think I'm pretty worried what they're going to do with me now after try to seduce basically one of their own. Like, they probably won't like that. I'm worried, but had to try. And I think it's both of you again. And I'm telling you this, that I kind of, this guy, it almost was like he had a heart. That was weird. But
So I think Julia is obviously there was like disappointment that the plan didn't work out, but I think she wants to kind of figure out the dynamics between the guards and who believed your story and those who didn't. I think maybe it's given her some kind of hope, even though it didn't work out, that you can maneuver your way out of this again.
Possible. Failed for me, but maybe you or Adrienne, you could still have a chance.
I'm not going to catch the attention of the guards the way that you have, Lucille.
Well, maybe that's not a bad thing. Oh.
Did you, when you got out at least part way, did you see the sky again before they got you back?
Yeah. We nearly made it out of the front gate, so.
What was it like?
You know, I was torn at that point between going out and grabbing a gun and just shooting as many of them as I could. And I opted to get out. Stupid mistake, I guess. Should have gone for the gun.
Next time, maybe.
There will be one, but you know, they said that they will take us somewhere else, so who knows?
Yeah, but their guards are going to be up, you know, when they're moving us.
Well,
Maybe
I don't know. At least you were close to getting out, Lucille, and if you since you didn't go for the gun then, they might suspect it less if you try again. If they think you're trying to get out rather than get them. And I think the guards will always want to be close to you, so you may well get a chance.
Yeah, just have to find the right guard, I guess. God, with a blast of glory, that would be it, right? I mean, come on. It's not as if we can hope for anything better. That's the scene.
Okay. So that's our 5 main chapters. So now it's, I guess, squeaky bum time, right? So at the final stage of, so, you know, I guess we're going to draw a card at some stage. But first, we have to choose what we want to do with the card. We secretly choose whether to keep it for ourselves or to donate it to another player. I think probably the best way to do that is in the chat, you know, so to type in what we're going to do and then like on a count of 3 or something, hit return.
And can you just walk us through how these last cards work again?
Yeah, exactly. This is important. Once all the donations have been finalized and people give their reasons for the donations they've made, we see how many cards we have. Those who have 2 or more cards in their hand of any suit escape and find their way back to Britain. Those with no cards die straight away, perhaps giving their lives to arrange the escape or executed mercilessly as a result of something they did which helped someone else to escape. And if you have 1 card, you are sent from prison to a concentration camp. If that card is a black card, you are executed there. If it's red, you survive till the end of the war. So there's obviously only 3 cards involved, so the economy is pretty stark. And then I think when we have decided, you know, who we're donating to, you know, whoever's getting the cards, we'll just draw them in Roll for Your Party, right? Because there's no way of having a card hidden in Roll for Your Party from yourself. Even if you enable hidden draws, it just hides it from other people. Okay. And then after that, we do an epilogue. Okay.
So just to check, we're typing in, you know, whether we're keeping it, whether we're giving it, and if we're and what our reason is, and then we'll all hit enter when you say go.
I don't think we have to type in our reason. We can work that in afterwards in the scene, but we're just gonna like either type in keep or give to name of character or whatever. Okay. So I think
I'm done.
Yeah, me too. So on 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1, return. Okay.
Wow.
There you go.
Mhm.
Okay, so
It
so I
looks like
guess
it's only Lucille who needs to draw then, since I now have two.
you have two cards, yeah. So
Okay, I will draw then.
you're looking for red.
I know. No, I'm not looking for a token. No, it's not red. Sorry.
Oh.
Okay.
Mm.
So so I think I will go first because I'm helping Adrienne, who is escaping. Let me think. Yeah, so I think when they're being moved, um, um, they're in a truck, and Julia has been pretty quiet and just paying attention to the guards who are sitting at the tail of the truck, watching over them. And there's a section in the road where the truck turns, and it's going through a wooded area, and she grabs the guard's gun and pushes him to the other side of the truck. And I think Adrienne is maybe sitting right beside her and has the chance to jump and run into the forest. And 100 yards down the road, the truck finally stops, and Julia gets thrown out onto the road and then just executed right there and then, and just kicked into the ditch on the side of the road before they continue.
I might go last since I'm going to make it furthest.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So I guess Lucille saw all this happen, but wasn't close enough to do anything. Not close enough to the guards, but she makes her decision then, because when they arrive at the camp and then she finds someone she can wrap around her finger, and he will bring her to some kind of casino, because she looks good at his arm, right? And at one point then she has the chance to grab a gun and she will start shooting. She's not a particularly good shot at all. She doesn't know how to really handle this, but I think she injures or kills one and injures two maybe before they gun her down. Yeah, so that's Lucille going out in the blaze.
Yeah, and Adrienne makes it off the truck and into the woods. She eventually makes contact with the laundry woman, as a way of getting the notice needed that she's, heading out of the country. And I think, after the war, she comes back to, the family where, the kids are only a few years older. And she shows up and the two kids kind of run out and they say, "You got well," and she has something of a limp or some other kind of noticeable toll that the time in prison took on her. And she goes like, "I did, I did."
And I think you'll see Mathilde dropping something.
I like that.
Yeah, and I guess we get a little epilogue, which I guess we can go as far forward as you want to. So for those who survived, where did they go? I think we covered a little bit of that, but you can probably go forward a little bit more if you want to. For those who died, who remembered them and who honored them. Yeah, so I think in the maybe in the years after the war, when a full accounting is made of all the agents and officers who died. We see some kind of memorial service for Julia, or Virginia Dodds, her real name. And I think maybe we see an older Clemence, visiting as part of some French delegation.
I think, the last sight of Adrienne living her life now after this, is her, still a relatively young woman, though, one who uses a cane now, just on her bad leg, in a wedding dress where she's marrying the younger brother of the man whose confession she heard, who she found after the war, to talk about what his brother did for her. She wanted someone to know that story, and they fell in love.
I think what you see I think you see, I guess you see an older man, probably somebody who fought maybe in World War I, and he's telling a young kid, red hair, about your brother and sister, they both, your brother was a soldier and he went and died in the war, and then your sister, she just went out to avenge him. Don't know if she ever did, but she didn't come home, and they just sent us a letter and said she was a hero. So I guess she kind of made good of that promise. That was your siblings. So now you have to live up to that. Poor kid.
It's a very unstoppable family.
No pressure.
No, not at all. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So I think that's it, unless anyone wants to add anything else. We might stop recording and do a debrief or an unwind. Okay, thanks for watching.